Good morning, and welcome to the second annual Georgetown Colloquium on the economics and regulation of the freight rail industry. My name is John Mayo. I am a professor of economics, business, and public policy here at Georgetown University. I'm also the executive director for the host organization for today, the Georgetown Center for Business and Public Policy, which I run with Professor Jeff Macker, my colleague, who you'll meet in a moment, and Marcia Mintz, who is the managing director. This is, for those of you who weren't here last year, I want to say a word or two about the Colloquium. This is a part of, or let's just say a visible part of, a larger effort that we have going on here at Georgetown, and I think now maybe across the country, to energize and stimulate and motivate good economic research on the economics of this very vital industry in the U.S. economy. We're really excited about this effort. Last year we started with a colloquium that featured 9 papers. They were on a variety of topics, including costing, regulation and deregulation, safety, the financial performance of the industry, and so on. I am delighted to say that at this point all of those papers have made it through the rigorous peer review process that happens as part of the academic vetting process. They are part now of a special issue, a double special issue of the Review of Industrial Organization that will be published formally in September of this year. The papers were available on that table over there, so I was going to make a pitch for the papers, but it looks like you found those papers. We'll have additional copies of the papers made available for you. So I was going to encourage you to grab a paper and look at ones that you think might be of interest. I think you'll find them to be very, very informative and really foundational for understanding the industry. So we're very excited about what we did last year. This year, I think we put together, again, a wonderful lineup of papers. My colleague Jeff Macker will describe how the day is going to go and introduce those speakers and papers for you in just a moment. Before I turn it over to Jeff, though, I wanted to say just 2 quick things. Number one, we chose the word colloquium rather carefully when we thought about how we were going to do today and how we were going to do last year. The idea of a colloquium is not to have a set of presenters simply present their material to you and to opine on their opinions. If you look at the list of participants, and that's available to everybody, you'll see that there is a tremendous amount of expertise in the room. Legal expertise, economic expertise, institutional expertise. That means that we should really all benefit by exchanging our views and opinions. We think this will make the research better. It will make our understanding of the industry better. It will ultimately make the policy process better. So whether you're a business person, a legislator, a consumer, it's going to make the process better if we all share our opinions. Again, Professor Macker will tell you how we're going to accomplish that, but let me encourage you to participate. The second thing I wanted to say is that as we were getting ready for today, it dawned on me that many colloquia will have a theme, and we didn't really have a theme, and I don't think we need a theme. The papers hang together really nicely. But let me just say that if we were going to have a theme, I think the theme might be 2015, 2016, a year of change. And the reason I say that is that while the rest of the economy was changing rather incrementally, it's not a surprise to those of you in this room that this was an industry that has not changed incrementally over the last year. It's changed in a variety of very profound ways. Let me just mention 3. In the volume of outputs, the mix of outputs, and let me just mention employment. Just to give you a sense of that, you'll see that if you were here last year, the perspective of carloads was very different than it is today. You had, in an otherwise growing economy, you see a relatively profound shift downward in the number of carloads being originated. In terms of the mix of outputs, you see that the volume of coal carried by the rail industry has dropped precipitously. Same thing is true And if you think about crude oil, this is now by quarter. You see that after several years of growing very, very rapidly and being the sort of big story of growth in the industry, you see that crude oil carloads have declined precipitously. In terms of the mix across an array of industries, you see that there is some positive growth and a lot of negative action going on. In terms of positive growth, you see motor vehicles, chemicals that have grown very rapidly, but you see other industries like metallic ores, petroleum products, coal that have dropped precipitously. And one of the things that we'd like to understand over time is what's driving those sorts of things. Now, that all brings me to ask, how has the rail industry responded to these changes, perhaps exogenous changes that they face? You know, the headline here is going to put together two words that you may never have thought someone would use in the same sentence. But, oh, there's employment. By the way, there's the Georgetown Colloquium happened right here, and you see the employment. I just want to add the academic disclaimer, and only an academic would buy this argument, is that the decline would have been a lot worse if we hadn't had that colloquium, all right? So I just want you to know that we're about to turn this thing around, all right? Now, why? How did the rail industry react? I think it reacted by also cutting employment, but also locomotives that were stored by a variety of railroads. So it's not just employment, but the capital stock as well is coming offline, which brings me to the notion that, yes, there's been changes. Of course there's been changes. What we're going to do here, we think, is very, very important, and that is that we are not going to focus on the headlines of the moment. What we're going to do is to focus on the fundamental economics and policy issues in this industry, because we think that if you're a business person, if you're a policymaker, if you're a regulator, this industry is going to be better in the long run if we understand it. So we're not going to look at that. We don't really know if these changes are momentary, if they're cyclical, or if they're secular. So we think that, that to be a better business person, legislator, so on, that you're going to benefit from these papers. So my final thing is to say is I hope you enjoy the day. We're all very looking forward to it. And please, by all means, do participate. And let me turn it over to my colleague, Jeff Macker.
Thank you, John. I'm here really just to keep everything on order. I would say the train's on time, but you guys have heard that joke so many times, I'm not going to refer to that. If you're looking for Wi-Fi access, use GuestNet. Don't use Saxonet. Saxonet requires a password, and it should be available for almost everybody. Bathrooms are located directly across the bridge. Women are on the left, men are on the right, and transgender are on the left and the right. Nobody thought that was funny. Okay. If you need to exit, these doors are going to be closed for presentation purposes. Just head north, which is this direction, and then you can walk all the way around. Name tags, hopefully everyone has obtained their name tag. Please return this for recycling. We can reuse those name tags. The brochures and the agenda are located on the bridge and as well on this table over here. Papers, some are available not only for the Rio special issue, at the bridge table, but they're also available online, so some of you might have access to that. Most of them are working papers, especially the paper I'll be presenting with John Mayo, and all of them are ready for constructive comments and feedback, so please bring your questions if you have them. In terms of presenters, we're going to have the presenters use the podium mic. The presentation they know is already preloaded, and John mentioned this, but we're going to have two forms of presentation. Last year we had 9, and it was a long day. I don't know, for those of you that were here last year, it was exhausting. Well, we're actually going to do 11 this year. You're welcome. All right, now I had a hard time vetting the number of papers we received for the colloquium, so if anything that I've seen in 1 year is a greater interest from economists and other people in freight rail. So, which is, I think, an overall a very, very good thing. So there's 6 regular papers. They're going to be 30 minutes of uninterrupted presentation, except one, and I'll mention that in 1 minute. And for the presenters, I'll give you a 10-minute warning, a 5-minute warning, and a 1-minute warning, and then I'll stomp my feet and run up here and tell you to stop. For the rapid fire, the lightning round, there's 5 papers, and we're going to try to shoot for 15 minutes of uninterrupted presentation with 0 minutes of Q&A. Now, the idea is the lightning round occurs right before lunch, and if you have some comments for one of the lightning round presenters, it'll be up to you to sort of meet with that person and sort of talk about the things you want. We're live streaming this event, and if you have people who might want to watch this that are not here, you can give them that URL, and they'll see right now me on TV, I guess, or on the computer screen. Participants, we're asking to wait for a handheld mic before you speak. State your name and affiliation. This is mainly so we can pick up the audio for the live stream, and then use the breaks and obviously lunch to follow up on any respective presenters. I'm not sure you guys can see this. It'll be up during the break, and it'll be up during lunch and during the afternoon break. But this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with 2 45-minute presentations. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll do the lightning round, and then we'll have lunch. And then the one thing I want to mention is the compendium that we put together. So we put together a compendium of all economic and policy, I shouldn't say all, but as much work as we can find that's related to econ and policy and freight rail. It's a searchable database that might provide anyone who's interested in this industry different papers with which they can look at on issues that have been written. And it's pretty comprehensive now. It's about 10 different topics that we have. And it's been a humongous work effort on our part to provide to the freight rail industry good economic and policy thought.